Venerable Bhantes, Venerable monks, nuns, and all the Dhamma friends. For this monthly Dhamma and Dharma program conducted by the United Sangha Council, I welcome you all on behalf of the United Sangha Council, all the members. Last time we started talking and practicing meditation, and each other's meditation techniques we started to talk from the Dhamma and Dharma side. And it's a big topic. So this time also we have been conducting almost the same topic. And so this time only two speakers, Venerable Bhante Yogavachara Rahula Mahathero from Dhamma and Venerable Geshe Dharge from Dharma, and Venerable Sudhadhara would conduct the program. And there would be around 30 minutes for each speakers, and afterwards there would be question and answer session too. So please, listeners, you can ask your important questions from our great speakers who are very good with the knowledge on what they are going to talk about today. And so I welcome you all once again, and Venerable Suvanna would start the program guiding us with Vandana.
Let's pay our homage to the precious triple gem. Vandana in Pali. Araham Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddham Bhagavantang Abhivandami. The Buddha is the Blessed One, the All-Enlightened One, the Holy One. I pay homage to the Buddha. Swakhato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namassami. Well praised, the teaching of the Buddha. I pay homage to the Dhamma. Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sangang Namami. Well behaved, the noble disciples of the Buddha. I pay homage to the Sangha. Let's pay homage in Sanskrit. Buddhañ ca Dhammañ ca Ganottamañ ca Yavadi Bodhim Saranam Gatosmin Dhanadi Punyaischa Kritei Maihi Buddho Bhaveyam Saranam Jagatu Hitaya. I go for refuge until the enlightenment to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. By the merits of Dharma activities, may I achieve Buddhahood for the sake of all living beings. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Venerable Sudhadhara, please unmute your mic.
Good evening. Welcome to Dhamma and Dharma in October 2022. And today's topic is the practice and benefits of Samatha meditation. Our respected venerable speakers are from Dhamma, as earlier mentioned by the Venerable Dhammaloka, is the first speaker is going to be Venerable Yogavachara Rahula, the director, Lion of Wisdom Meditation Center, Gaithersburg, Maryland. And then will be followed by Venerable Geshe Lobsang Darge, who will speak on the Dharma side. So each speaker gets 30 minutes to explain his topic, and then there will be a question answer session. So I would like to respectfully invite Venerable Yogavachara Rahula to give his talk. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me to share this topic of meditation with all of you. And I'm having to speak over my telephone because my computer audio is not working. So the last time we met, I had given a general kind of overview of meditation in particular and the guided meditation. So this week the topic is on specifically samatha practice, the practices, different practices of samatha, and the benefits or the purpose of samatha from the Theravada viewpoint. Now, as we all know, especially in the Theravada tradition, but I think in all traditions, the practice of meditation has one aim, and that is to purify the mind of greed, hatred, and delusion, and train it to be able to eventually realize the ultimate truth and to realize Nibbana. And so the practices normally are called samatha and vipassana. These are termed tranquility, calming or tranquility meditation, the word samatha. And oftentimes it's also called samadhi. Both of these terms, samatha meditation and samadhi meditation, are often used interchangeably. Now, the benefits of samatha practice, as mentioned in the Visuddhimagga, the basic meaning is a peaceful abiding here and now. And it's one of the functions of the samatha meditation is to suppress the 5 hindrances. And the purpose of suppressing the 5 hindrances is, of course, to have a peaceful abiding here and now, and also to gain that concentration that allows one to see reality as it is. So the Buddha, in many cases, is one who is concentrated, sees reality as it is. Of course, as we've discussed before, reality as it is that everything is impermanent. Anything that's impermanent and clung to brings suffering, and that all things are essentially without any owner or controller. So coming back to the samatha practice, again, the prerequisite is for overcoming the 5 hindrances. And the 5 hindrances are sense desire, ill will, restlessness and worry, sloth and torpor, and doubt. Now, these 5 hindrances are which keep the mind in a very contracted state, and in a state that we're not able to really gain any deeper concentration or insight. So the practices of samatha meditation, there's a lot of them, and in the Visuddhimagga, or even in the sutras, we find that there are 40 subjects of the meditation, and most of these belong to the practice of samatha meditation. And some of them are discursive contemplation. So there are 10 of these 40 samatha meditations are the 10 recollections of the Buddha, recollecting the qualities of the Buddha, recollecting the qualities of the Dhamma, recollecting the qualities of the Sangha, recollecting one's virtue and also one's generosity, recollection of the deities and what deities have done to be reborn in places, and also the death, contemplation of death, awareness of death. And also mindfulness of breathing. Those are also part of the 10 recollections, recollecting breathing, and 32 body parts, and recollection of peace. So, and all of these are to help prepare the mind again. You know, all of the meditations are ultimately designed at realizing the Four Noble Truths, and also generating the 5 spiritual faculties of faith, energy, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. So without faith, the person is not even going to really practice meditation. So having faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, the triple gem, is considered kind of a foundational practice to develop that motivation to continue our practice. And the other recollections also, these involve some discursiveness. So you're actually kind of thinking about the qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. You're thinking about, you know, the inevitability of death, and you're contemplating the body as, you know, 32 body parts, and so on. So that requires some discursive thinking, which is vitakka. So you're developing applied thought on a certain topic. So it's not a one-pointed concentration, but it does lead to axis concentration. And the 32 body parts can even lead to the first jhana. So these kind of meditations are, you know, part of that samatha practice. Then there's also the 4 Brahma Viharas, and these are quite popular meditations. The development of metta, and then karuna, mudita, and upekkha. So these Brahma Viharas are also samatha meditations. They lead to attaining the first 3 jhanas for the first 3 of those, but the 4th, the equanimity, can lead to the 4th jhana, or the sort of one of the highest sort of samatha samadhi states. And so these also requires a certain amount of discursive contemplation while you're doing that. But it goes beyond just the discursive until the mind becomes quieted down. Now, all of these meditations basically have the function of, you know, the mind letting go of its neurotic thoughts of the past and the future and contemplating on a particular topic. So it can be a topic, as I just mentioned, one of the reflections, or it could be focusing the mind on a single point, such as with the anapanasati, or one of the kasinas. And some of the other of the 40 subjects of meditation are the 10 kasinas. Now, these aren't practiced a whole lot by the general public because they're a little bit more complicated to make these kasina devices, and they're very difficult to practice. But these kasinas are also developing one-pointed concentration on the earth element, fire element, water element, air element, blue, yellow, red, white, and light kasinas. So in doing that, by focusing the attention on one point, that suppresses the thought, and it suppresses the hindrances. But it, these take a long time to do that. It takes a lot of practice to do that. But the point is to stop the mind from thinking about other things, the past and the future, and also to overcome sleepiness. Sleepiness is one of the most, you could say the worst of all the hindrances is sleepiness, because you can't do anything when the mind is overcome with sloth and torpor. And so by developing that concentration, that also overcomes sleepiness, because the mind becomes filled with a lot of energy and even light in many cases, and that overcomes the sleepiness. And by continually developing the vitakka and vichara, that means applied and sustained thought, and the ability to let go of distractions, let go of the hindrances, and keep coming back, then those hindrances get suppressed. And it's similar to like pushing the head of a jack-in-the-box down into the square box and putting on the lid through the force of that concentration. So that's basically the practice of the samatha meditations, is to suppress the five hindrances and to make the mind attain that even-mindedness, unification of mind. Also, one of the definitions of samadhi or samatha is profitable unification of the mind, in which all of the distractions and so on are overcome, and the mind becomes unified in the present moment with that its object of attention. And it's a wholesome object. All these objects of samatha practice are wholesome objects. They're objects about Dhamma, about objects about cultivating the right understanding and the faith in the practice, and to make the mind pliable. And so it centers the mind evenly on the consciousness is evenly centered in the present moment without distraction. And the qualities, of course, are the jhana factors. One attains the piti and the sukha. When one attains access concentration, the five hindrances are largely suppressed, but the jhana factors aren't fully developed. And when one attains the full apana samadhi, then the jhana factors are fully developed. That means the applied and sustained thought, the rapture and happiness, and the one-pointedness. So, and that's stillness. The mind becomes perfectly stilled in that point, but then one can go on and to attain the second and third and the fourth jhanas as well. And there are other formless jhanas. Most people don't practice those, but those are even more refined, the immaterial jhanas, which could also be included in the samatha practice. But by and large, the most popular of all the samatha practices is the anapanasati, or the mindfulness of breathing. And that usually you focus the attention. A lot of teachers have you focus the attention and try to feel the touch of air as it's going in and out through the nostrils, and you make that your point of one-pointedness. Now, not everyone can do that. It's not easy to keep the mind focused on such a very fine, soft sensation. So even the way that I usually have beginners do it is to focus on the expanding and contracting of the abdomen, rib cage, or chest, or to focus on the expanding and contracting sensations of the breathing. That also acts as a kind of focus point, a one-pointed focus And just remembering that you're breathing in and remembering you're breathing out by feeling it. So we only know that we're breathing in and out if we can feel it. So there has to be some sensation there that's giving us the understanding that we're breathing in and breathing out. And so by focusing on that, as you're able to let go of the hindrances, apply the right efforts to overcome the hindrances, then eventually one attains that access concentration or the jhanas on that state of when the mind has been, brought to that point of one-pointed concentration, where all the external distractions are eliminated, and the mind becomes a very powerful focus, almost like a laser beam. Now, it's from that point that people can then go on to practice Vipassana meditation. Well, what happens is a lot of people get kind of stuck on the rapture and bliss of the samatha, of those pleasant feelings that come from achieving the tranquility. And people just want to hang out and experience that tranquility. And so a lot of people don't go on to developing Vipassana because they get stuck there. But really the purpose from the Theravada point of view of developing tranquility is to then develop insight into anicca, dukkha, and anatta, following the Vipassana.
Oh, sorry, Bande. Bande, Yogachara, you muted again. So.
Still, we cannot hear you, Bante.
Maybe some mic got muted by accident.
Still, it's mute.
Okay, so now we're going to have a short guided meditation, and on just learning how to relax the mind and bring the mind into the body to relax and feel the body, and then send out some metta vibrations and focus on the breathing as just as a kind of a elementary samatha practice. So try to sit straight. Keep the chin lifted up level to the floor. To relax your body. Just gently close your eyes. Just try to feel the eyes in the socket. Feel the eyelids stretched over your eyeballs. From that point on the eyes, relax your face muscles. Feel your head. Relax your face muscles. Let the awareness go down to the body. Relax your shoulders. Feel the clothing touching your shoulders. Feel the weight of the arms hanging from the shoulders. Feel your chest. Take a deeper breath. Feel the expanding contraction of your chest. Feel your hands and fingers touching together. The subtle pulsation of your fingers. Feel your buttocks pressing the seat. Feel the weight of the body pressing the seat. Feel the way your knees are bent and your feet tucked underneath. Feel your feet and toes. And let the awareness kind of come back up through the body and rest again behind the eyes. Try to feel the outline of the whole body, the body part, head on top, arms at the side, buttocks pressing the seat, feet underneath. Just as you were just mentally sort of watching the body sit there. Remind yourself of sitting, or just watch your own body sitting there. Cultivate these thoughts of metta, thinking like this to yourself. May I be well, happy and peaceful, free from greed, hatred, fear, and ignorance. Free from the self-created sufferings of body and mind, through unskillful karmic actions and thoughts. I have the patience, strength, mindfulness, and wisdom to make and overcome all difficulties in life. Taking these same thoughts to all your family members, and my mother and father, brothers and sisters, grandparents, aunts and uncles, other relatives. May all of them be well, happy, and peaceful, free from greed, hatred, fear, and ignorance, free from self-created sufferings of body and mind due to unskillful thought, speech, and action. Also have the patience, strength, mindfulness, and wisdom to meet and overcome all difficulties in life. In a more general way, just imagine sending these same thoughts outward across the town, across the countryside, across your whole state, country, and eventually across the whole world, the ocean, your home country, and beyond. Cultivating these thoughts of metta, may all beings be free from greed, hatred, fear, and ignorance. Well, happy and peaceful, all beings free from pain and suffering of body and mind brought about by the negative thoughts and actions. All beings be able to hear the teachings of the Dhamma, meditation to free the minds from the suffering. All beings be able to live peacefully and harmoniously together. Ultimate interconnectedness of all things. Having generated these really peaceful thoughts, attention back to our being. Take a few deep, slow breaths, like 3 or 4 seconds to gradually expand your abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Hold the air in your lungs 2 or 3 seconds. Oxygenating blood. Out breath, feel that relaxation. Last bit of air go out of the lungs. Cultivate these thoughts as you More deep, slow breath. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, here and now. Now let the breathing return to its uncontrolled, shorter, regular rhythm. You focus your attention on the nostrils and the nose to feel the air going in and out. There's the air going in and out of the. You need to feel the visual expanding, contracting sensations of your stomach, chest area. We're going to count our breaths from 1 to 10 to develop continuous concentration on the breathing. Do the counting for you. Next incoming breath, mentally count to 1. Outgoing breath also 1. Next in breath 2. Out breath 2. In 3. Out 3. In 4. Out 4. In 5. Out 5. In 6. Out 6. In 7. Out 7. In 8. Out 8. In 9. Out 9. In 10. Out 10. Just continue the counting. You need to keep the attention focused on the breathing, either with the nostrils and stomach, chest area. Just know when the breath is coming in, knowing when the breath is going out. Know it by feeling. Help to stay focused and remind you. You can make these brief mental rememberings. In 16. Out, out, in, I feel the 4 phases of each breath cycle. Standing in breath in the brief pause. Breath in the brief pause. Brief pauses between the breaths and body. The tranquility in the sitting body. With each out breath, in the body and mind more and more. Out breath. More and more into the present moment. In sitting. Out. Breath by breath, moment by moment. Letting go of the thoughts, let your thoughts come and go in the background. The breathing body in the front of the awareness. Body and mind with each out. Dukkha pata jani dukkha, vaya pata jani baya, sukha pata jani sukha, unto sabbi people. The suffering be free from suffering. Fear struck, be free from fear. Grieving be free from grief. May all beings live. Mindfulness. Now, just mindfully place your hands at the edge of the knees to slowly come out of the state. On the next in-breath, as you breathe in, stretch your head back, pull the hands on your knees to arch your spine a little bit. Lift the head up on an in-breath, and on an out-breath, press the chin to the top of the chest. Touch the neck vertebra. Lift the chin up level on an in-breath. Friends, I hope you're able to minutes of some peaceful tranquility and some idea of samatha. So, back over to to continue with the
Thank you, Venerable Yogavachara Rahula, for the wonderful session. And the next speaker is going to be from the Dharma tradition. He graduated from all three great universities of Gelugpa tradition, and also now, well, he's the resident Dharma master at Do Ngak Pumpen Ling in Reading, Connecticut. Venerable Geshe Lobsang Darge, floor is for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Manasutra. So, okay. I'm going to use my presentation sheet here. Okay. So before that, I'd like to clarify a few things regarding shamatha. As Pandey Rahula said, we began this topic from last discussion, last month, the meditation. And then we're going to continue to try to do the more deeper and deeper, the part of meditations. So this time, our topic is shamatha, which is very important for us. But shamatha is important, it's dependent on how you use it. For me, I think shamatha is exactly like today's technology. Today's new generation technology, if we use properly, there's so many things benefit. So it makes us save time, save energy, and then everything goes faster, and so many benefit there if we can use properly. But today's technology, if we not use properly, there are no benefit. That's the same way shamatha, because shamatha is if you use properly to gain those achievement of those quality, then it's a lot of help. Otherwise, in generally, we attain shamatha in many lifetime. So therefore, I can say there are 2-3 ways to achieve shamatha. So right now we talking achieving shamatha is by practicing. And there another there, so achieve shamatha by born. So we talk 3 ram, the desire ram and form rams and formless ram. The being who born in form rams, they have shamatha with born. So we had this, we attend those many times. And then shamatha, single pointed mind, karma abiding is not the only Buddhist practice. Many non-Buddhists, Hinduism are also practiced and they attain shamatha. So therefore shamatha, non-Buddhists can do that. And then also shamatha can be achieved by born. And then shamatha can be achieved by practice. So here we like to express shamatha achieved by practice. If then the question might come, if shamatha is just by born and we attain many time, why we still circling in samsara? That's my answer is because we attend shamatha, but we not use it properly. So for us, shamatha is like a hand. People who cut the wood, the shamatha is like a hand, and X, which is cutting the wood, is like a inside, vivashana. Or another example, shamatha is like a light in darkness, flame, which is unmovable flame in darkness. But the finding something in darkness, cleaning in darkness, have to do more than light. You have to see through by your eyes and find it out. You have to cleanse by your hands with this light, then help. So therefore, shamatha is just like a flame in the dark, just like a hand when they cut the wood. But if so, then is there any benefit for achieving shamatha? Yes, definitely. At the beginning, if you use properly, they have a lot of benefits, shamatha. So the first benefit is when you achieve shamatha, your mind will be the perfect concentrations. We can concentrate it. And once you concentrate it, anything you are like to focus on object, you can firmly, you can engage those objects firmly. And once you focus firmly, all this, your mental state will be the more firm and single pointed. When your mental state and firm and single pointed, then you will achieve whatever you want is quickly. You will know something that you want to know is getting faster because your mind is very single pointed and very concentrated. That's the benefit. And then from beginning to, this is one benefit Pandit Raula mentioned, it's from beginning to and achieve nirvana or achieve enlightenment. All this, the fundamental basis is shamatha. If you have a shamatha, you will attain those. If you do not have a shamatha, you will not attain those. But it means that shamatha is everything. Shamatha is fundamental basis. And then therefore, you will, all those attainment, you will have it. And once you achieve shamatha, even if you're sleepy, turning into the virtues, concentration mind. And then there are other benefits on there. But again, shamatha itself cannot eliminate all this hindrance. Regarding Mahayana perspective, cannot eliminate the hindrance, such as like attachment, hatred, and self-grasping, and so on. So those cannot eliminate by shamatha. But shamatha is big hand for eliminate that. Once you have a shamatha, then you can see selflessness. You can meditate with the selflessness properly and faster. You can realize the selflessness very fast. Once you realize the selflessness, that can eliminate it. When you achieve the compassion faster, that can eliminate it, some of the hindrance, not the shamatha itself. As I go back, that shamatha is like a flame in the dark time. So, but use it properly to clean and finding the very value things. Then shamatha is very benefiting. If so, and then not. Again, go back one briefly. Shamatha itself cannot eliminate any kind of mental afflictions, mental defilement. But definitely, shamatha can reduce it. Shamatha can reduce your anger, your hatred, not the eliminating. So that's clear. So, and then who wants to practice shamatha, achieve shamatha in this lifetime? So there are prerequisite or like a condition which is necessary, and then actual practice. So first, let me say, what are the prerequisite and actual necessary conditions are? So there are so many, but I can picking up so few importance for first things, your morality practice need be perfect. This is one prerequisite to doing shamatha practice. And then second is, you need a more satisfaction mind, need a less desire or satisfaction mind. That's another prerequisite. So then you must be abandoning a lot of worldly activities for who really dedicate to try to achieve shamatha in this lifetime. During the time, you must abandon many of the worldly activities. right? Beside eating, drinking, sleeping, that's we have to. Otherwise, all the holy activities need to be abandoned because we need a lot of time for that to achieve the shamatha. So if you have those prerequisites, and then see, you will attain the shamatha within 6 months or years, if you do properly with all this prerequisite. And another prerequisite is important part is when you choose the object to build up your concentration in order to achieve shamatha, we must choose one object forever. So you cannot choose object today breathing, tomorrow flower, day after wood, then after that, if you moved a lot, the shamatha, I mean like an object, then your concentration will be not really firm. So therefore, that one necessary condition is choose one object and be with this object, focus and practice. And then also the time, like as I said, 6 months and 1 year. If so, then your time should be very much focused on the practice on shamatha. So let's say 1 week, 5 days, you are continuous focusing and practicing, and 2 days break down. And then next 5 days again do, and then you take break. So if you do this, then again, your shamatha is not attending. So it's like say the 2 rocks which is burning, right? You have to hit on the one again and again and again and again. If you take break, then not burning it. If you continue to hit on it, then burn it. Same way, until you attain the shamatha, you must continue meditate on it, practice on it. Otherwise, if you take break, then it's postponing or it's getting longer to achieve shamatha, and then not changing the object. This is very important. And then one important, we must have an object, either breath or tree or flower, whatever you choose. We must have an object to attain shamatha, karma abiding. These are the briefly the prerequisite for, or like a necessary condition for the achieve shamatha. So now I'm going to explain with this chart from beginning, very beginning, who never concentrate, who never meditate. So for them, first we needed this necessary quality. Either you build it up or you use what you have innately. For cleansing laziness, this is the first problem. The first problem is laziness. So laziness will never let you attain shamatha and karma abiding, right? Or karma abiding. So but overcome by laziness, you must use these 3. The faith, aspiration, joyful effort. The joyful effort is depend on how much you have aspiration, interesting. The interesting is depend on how much you have a faith. The faith is depend on how much you are valued the shamatha. If you a lot of value the shamatha, you have faith, trust. Once you have faith, it brings you interesting because you learn so many value of the shamatha, right? Once you have an interesting, it brings you aspiration. Once you have an aspiration, then whatever you do effort, all do with the joyful, right? It's no hard work. Same as like when if you're interesting on some kind of sport game, then no matter the raining or cold or hot, you like to play. The heart's not affecting you, raining is not affecting you, cold is not affecting you, because you're very much interesting to play soccer, right? Same way, once you have that interesting mind, then all this, your practice will be do with the joyful. Once you have a joyful mind, definitely let you overcome by laziness. This is the first step. So once you overcome by laziness, then next, you need while you're doing the shamatha meditation, you need a regulation, you need a vigilance and application and neutral. These four things is recollections, what it means here, the forgetting instruction. Okay, now you have a joyful effort, wants to do practice. But if you do not have any guidance and instruction, then you will not do, you cannot do it. Or you have a wrong instruction and guidance, all your time will be the waste. So therefore you properly learn all this, the guidance and instruction for achieve shamatha, and try to remember it, not forget it. If you, that's the one things you need it. After you have a joyful effort, you need a recollection, you need to remember all this instruction. And it's not enough. Once you have a recollection, and then you need a vigilance again, right? So if you do not have a vigilance, then while we're doing meditation, you will have a singing and attentions, agitations, or another way to say linger and excitations. This too is the main obstacle for achieve shamatha. So singing is the first you have to challenge, and then agitation or excitations you have to second time you have to challenge. The both need a vigilance, and then I will talk later how vigilance help them. But the hindrance that what Pandit Rahula mentions, the attachment and so on, we say these are the once you have an attachment and anchor, it brings you distraction, right? Excitation, agitation. There's too much disturbed to have concentration mind. So for that, sometimes we separately take time for reduce those attachment and so on. Otherwise, if the attachment and angers are not that strong, then you don't have to separately apply for that to reduce. Just concentration is help. So there's this too is the main obstacle. For that, you need a vigilance when it's manifested. When it manifested, you have to stop at the moment, otherwise it's continuous wasting time. And then last second is application. Application means when you see that once you have a sometimes distraction mind, then you have to, when you see that with the vigilance, if you do not have any problem with the singing and linger or agitation or excitation, your mind is continuous focusing on the object, you don't apply any antidote, just be there, just be concentrated. If you see your mind is too much focusing and concentrating, but still you applying something else, that's wrong, right? Just let it be continuous. If your mind do not have any obstacle, and if your mind is continuous focusing on object, let it be. Otherwise, it will be disturbed. So therefore say, sorry. The application, once you realize, once you have a distraction, then you must try to stop it. When you realize when you have a singing, then you must try to stop it. So therefore, you should apply the antidote. Not applying antidote when it needed is the wrong. So we must apply the antidote for that to stop singing and distraction. But next one, neutral. Once you see your mind do not associate with the distraction and singing, is continuous focusing on it, then let it be. Just be neutral. Don't apply anything. At the time applying is wrong. This is the general necessary needed for actual practice. Overcome laziness and need this. Now next here, when we develop shamatha, shamatha is come after that. We talked about 9 stages. So you can see behind the photo, the 2 frame. So that frame is like a diagram that how we achieve shamatha. But I'm not showing today, just here, the 9 stages of the mind abiding. The 9 stages of the mind abiding, the first one, right? Say mental placement. Right now, our mind is mental placement if you never practice the shamatha, which means your mind is cannot focus on object, keep distracted, or having linger or singing having one of those practice problem, and then you cannot focus continuous. It's like a 3 second you can focus on an object, then you lost. But you keep losing your mind at that moment. Therefore, mental placement means you have to bring back again and again and again. This is the right now we are. So you cannot continuously focus on your object no more than 5 minutes. Maybe sometime at the beginning, just 3 seconds, 4 seconds, and after that we lost. So we have a lot of practice for getting this mental placement. So mental placement means even no continuum long, but just try to get mind on, focus on object. If you lost and then use vigilance, right? Then you will realize you lost. Then bring back again and then focus, bring back your mind on object again and again, again and again. So regarding that, you need a power of listening. You still not go to your room and some solitary place need to practice. You still need to do with your teacher. You still need to learn. You need a lot of listening, because when I do this, okay, first moment I have this problem. Then if look at there and here, no one to ask, then I stuck, right? So therefore you get completely all instruction and information while we're doing the first state of the karma abiding. So this is the power of listening. So power of listening will bring you that correct and clear and properly can concentrate on your object. So still, but cannot be continuum, briefly can focus, then you lost, again briefly focus, then you can lost. That you need a lot of these learn things, find it out the error, find it out all this problem, okay? Then move to the next stage. Next stage we call continuous placement. The continuous placements, at the moment, now you are no more learning. All instructions are clear that you have it. You only need to be reflected those the instruction, and you have to only reflect it that your mind can focusing on the object or not. Many times. So that reflected brings you that continuum placement. The continuum placement, let's say 4 minutes. This is the second stage. 3 seconds, beginning from 3 seconds, continuous practice needed this two power, listening and reflecting. Then you will gain the second stage, which can continue without any obscuration, 4 minutes or 5 minutes that you can consider with the object. Then you can feel some kind of bliss, happy or enjoyment. So your head is getting more tired, or some kind of place there, some kind of joyful there. It's not really so strong joyful, some kind of joyful there. If you can at least 4 or 5 minutes can consider with one object without any obscurations. So therefore getting this, you need these two, listening and reflecting. And then the 4 mental attention is a tight engagement. You need a lot of work hard, the first two statements. So first two stage, the mental placement and continuum placement. You need a lot of hard work and focus that we call tight engagement. The attention of tight engagement means you need a lot of work, right? So this is how go to, then move to next third state of the karma abiding, we call replacement. Replacement means like now at the continuum place, you can continuously meditate or with one object 5 minutes continuously. But replacement, you have to make it longer and longer, right? So that we call replacement. So you have to even 5 minutes, you have to bring again and again and again, make it more stronger and stronger, right? And then, and when you do continuous, when you attend the fourth stage, close replacement, then from this stage, you never lose your object. That's how it comes. You never lose your object. So but both attending this, you need a power of recollections. Remember again and again and again and again. You need a power of recollections, right? Recollections. And then and when you attend that, and we're saying here, they are like you never lose your object. You can continuous even 1 hour, 2 hours, 7 hours, 1 day. If you want to focus on your object, you can continuous focus on it without having any without losing object. But at the time, you're not losing object, but it might have a subtle linger and subtle agitations, which these two problems. Subtle linger and subtle agitations. This is usually master are saying very difficult to differentiate it between general singing and subtle singing, gross level agitation and subtle level agitation. It's difficult to differentiate it, but here saying the taming mind, this is the fourth. When you have, you will never lose the object. You can continue to focus, but do not have an intensity. Sometimes you lose intensity. Your clarity is there, your stability is there, your mind stability on object there. Your clarity is also there, but that clarity and stability is not intensity, not strength, right? So where is similar, way beginning, we have a very enthusiastic and continues doing, but you are still interested in continues doing, but not that strong enthusiastic as you have a beginning. That is the obstacle. So therefore, subtle level of singing, here saying the possible to have the subtle level of singing. Once you have a subtle level of singing, then we must need it like make it more strength and then get more intensity, that clarity and stability. For that, you need a vigilance, power of vigilance. And then the fifth stage, specifications. So once you attend the specifications, you will not have a subtle level of singing, but at that time, you might have a subtle level of distraction. Because once you have a certain level of singing, you try to too much get awareness again and again, because it's getting more fuzzy and singing, right? Subtle level that you try to get more awareness. Once you get awareness more, it could be turned into the distractions. Therefore, once you get that stage, still you might have a certain level of distraction or agitations. For that, again, you apply the power of vigilance to cleanse that, right? So, and from here, after that, once you attend the seventh stage, then you don't need any recollection and vigilance. You can continuous focus on like a object without those the obstacle. But still you need a perseverance, because it's not there, but it could be comes back, because it's not 100% cleansed. It could be come back. Therefore, you keep put it effort to continue, complete your concentration, get better. So once you attend this stage, again, you are all this recollection and vigilance, no more needed vigilance, and but still you need the effort, because it might be come back that subtle level of vigilance and agitation but still they are not 100% clear. Thus, once you attend that, the working on like a one pointness, this is we call working at a one pointness. This is the eighth stage of the process to achieving shamatha. So at the time, you don't need that much joyful effort, right? But your concentration get to be more stronger, continuous. So those two, you need the power of joyful effort. But the last force here is so equipoise. Equipoise is now you habitually, you don't need any effort at the way beginning. You don't need any effort in the middle. You don't need any effort at the end. You just want to focus. Once you begin to focus on an object, then easily can continuous meditate on it without any obstructions. That's equipoise. That's the ninth stage. When you get the ninth stage, still you not achieve shamatha. The mind is very concentrating mind and karma abiding and pointing, but you still not attain the shamatha. So therefore, so attaining shamatha is you continuous meditating again and again. Then once you have the very blissful plans by the what called another word to say bliss of physical and mental pliancy. Once you have equipoise, the ninth stage, you will have a pliancy, mental and both physical pliancy and we call suppliance. It's very flexible, but still you don't have a bliss. Once you have a bliss of physical, mental, and mental pliancy, then we consider you achieve shamatha. You achieve shamatha. So this is how we need to go. And sorry, I forget to explain those four attentions. This tight attentions needed for way beginning, work hard. And he said interrupted engagement. Interrupted engagement is from here, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. I think it's the seventh also are the interrupting engagement, because it's that linger and excitations comes back again and again. It's interrupt your concentration. It could be interrupt. So, and then from here, uninterrupted, then those obstacles never interrupt you. And then you will have a very concentrated mind here. They're called spontaneous engagement. Easily can do that without any obstacle, right? So as I said, still you don't achieve the shamatha. For that, you continuously meditate, then you will have a blissful, you have a bliss of physical and mental pliancy. That we consider it as shamatha. So once you achieve shamatha, then you have a very good tools that you can use for carpenter, you can use for electronic, you can use for like a construction, everything you can use for that. That's one tool which we can use for all these things. Similarly, for regarding Buddhist practice, this is the one tools you can use for achieving compassion and kindness. And you can use for realizing the impermanent. You can use for realize the selflessness, and so on, until you can achieve enlightenment. Thus you can use it. You will have a very good tools then, once you have that shamatha. This is how briefly, sorry, very brief, my time is up. But a lot of things to say on it. Maybe I can recommend it to you all to read some, the book especially that Kamalashila's The Three Stage and Lama Tsongkhapa's The Stage of the Enlightenment at the last part. Very detailed talks about those shamatha meditations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Venerable Geshe Lobsang Darge, for the detailed presentation. Now it's the question and answer session. Both speakers are here ready to answer. Please feel free to ask your questions. If you need either you can raise your hand or just well say it and just introduce yourself and ask the question. Just it doesn't matter for any speaker. You can point the question to any speaker. Thank you.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
I don't know if you can hear me. But
Yes.
if we're just beginning at shamatha and we're using the breath as the object, do we at some stage choose to change the object, do something, for example, the image of the Buddha? Are we just starting at the beginning with the image of the Buddha, or should we never change the object, always stay on the breath? What's your advice for that? Because I heard Geshe Darge say that yes, you should always stay on the same object for success.
Mhm. Okay, so the breathing you can use as a warm-up. You know, when we do exercise outside, then you just do some kind of warming up, right? So the breathing meditation you can use for warming up, get more ready for spend time more for practice shamatha. But when you begin the shamatha practice, then I think choose one object, and then most of our masters recommended the Buddha image. So this is very good, and small Buddha image. I didn't talk the object of the shamatha, but we choose the Buddha image and then go on with the just Buddha image. You cannot change it. Better not change it.
And do you find that the image of the Buddha does change as you get better and better? It perhaps becomes more and more detailed, or what sort of things are we looking for as we get further along in the 9 steps?
Okay, the first 3 stage, you really don't have to go detail and clarity. You just roughly, whatever image you saw, it just roughly sees, then you focus on that roughly. But try not change that rough color. If we're beginning, if color is white, and in slowly color changing to the red color and blue color, that goes wrong. So even it's roughly, shape and color shouldn't change it. And then once you more focus and go in more like a 4th stage, they automatically comes more clarity. So then you can see more detail with the concentration.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome.
I like that question. I like if Venerable Rahul also have any idea to know about it. Any idea on the same question? We cannot hear.
We cannot hear you.
Okay. Meanwhile, I think.
Yeah, if everyone needs the chat, what I show you, I can send it by chat.
Okay. Then, yeah, in order to save the time, let's give chance to some other person, if there is any question.
Okay. Okay, Bhante Rahul, you can use the phone.
Yeah. Until he's ready, I think Venerable Sudhadhara, if there is any.
Yeah, well, I want both speakers to talk, give an answer for this. When we choose that, it's an extension of the same question that was answered by you, that Okay, when well, as Venerable Rahula said, there are 40 objects of meditation, and also I'm sure that Venerable Geshe also can say there are certain numbers of objects, but to pick a certain object or breath or maybe the visual object or anything, well, is there any are there any, well, is there any character types that depending your character, well, are there certain number of objects that you can choose?
Okay, Pandey Rahul is still working on his microphone.
Yeah, please go ahead, Honorable Darge.
Okay, definitely we have a more than 40 object. All the path are the object of the shamatha, right? But here one saying, before you develop object, how many, before you develop shamatha, how many object there? After you develop shamatha, how many object there? It's too different for me. Before you develop shamatha, you don't choose any different object. You choose one object. This I'm emphasizing it. And then why? Because after you achieve shamatha, there are so many objects there which we have to achieve and realize and attend. Therefore, I say more than 45. All these qualities, inner qualities, are like a for mindfulness, and there's like we call all these Eight Noble Path, and then like a 37. Those all the paths are considered as object. After you shamatha, we have to develop those. That's the I like to say it.
Okay.
Well, are there any different character types that you can choose that particular object of meditation as well? Depending on I am more getting easily angry, and then are there any objects that I can use?
Oh, okay. This is different type that we're talking, right? So this is different type that who is not doing serious practice, who is not trying to seriously attend nirvana. It's generally public. They can have we have so many different methods to overcome by each mental defilement, right? Without develop the concentration, without develop shamatha, still we can do that. For anger, we do patience, loving kindness. For attachment, we meditation on ugliness, right? For jealousy, we meditation on rejoicing. For like I say, pride, we are meditation on all these dependent origination things. For doubt, we meditation on like a truth and selflessness. So those all this temporarily you can use it for, but it will not let you overcome by forever, right? So if you really want to overcome by anger, shouldn't avoid the anger, more competitive with the anger, more challenge with the anger. Let anger arises and then apply the antidote, love and kindness, and so on and so on. That can be reduced anger. Otherwise, we do so many different type of meditation. A single-pointed meditation, meditation with the breathing, right? Breathing meditation. For me, it's avoiding anger. It's not challenging anger. Because you're changing the object. If you have an anger with someone, say, criticize to you, you don't want to think this criticize again and again. Then you choose the focus on the breath because you change the object. Then that will let you forget that object. It's just avoid it, not try reducing or eliminating. So avoiding will come same amount of anger come tomorrow. Try not to avoid that anger, right? Therefore, really sincerely meditate on love and kindness. It will free you from anger. This is the home. To try not to avoid that. I'm saying again. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Ante Rahula is ready, I think.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry about all that.
That's fine.
So what is the question? 'Cause
But the question was about that there are okay, as in Visuddhimagga, the path, the book on meditation that is called the path of purification, right? So, well, for those 40 meditation objects, that well, is there any choice of choice of certain objects for the person depending on his or her character type?
Yes, there was advice there about people of a greedy type should do some preliminary contemplations, such as loathsomeness of the body and the 32 body parts. And people with a lot of hatred, then of course they can practice the metta. And so these are preliminary meditations. If we have gross problems in our mind, then we have to try to weaken them a little bit by cultivating the opposite, that, applying the right effort. And then for people with too many thoughts, then the anapanasati is usually a practice given. But even once you start your practice, if one of those 5 hindrances come up, then, in the Vitakka Santana Sutta, the Buddha gave these ways of dealing with the distraction thought. So you can apply them until the hindrance goes away, and then come back to your subject of meditation. And then, that could happen many, many times. You might be able to watch your breath for 2 or 3 breaths, and then maybe you get a little sleepy. And then you have to, try to straighten up. You have to take some deep, slow breaths, overcome that sleepiness, and then, come back again to the breathing. Then the mind might get lost in a sensual thought. Then you apply the antidotes toward that sensual thought until the mind lets go of that, and then keep coming back over and over. So like that, we have to, alternate, focusing on applying attention to the object, but when the hindrance gets too strong, first we try to just be mindful, okay, anger is arisen. And then maybe if it's not too strong, it will fall away and you can stay on your object of concentration. But if it keeps coming back over and over, then we can apply the antidotes, contemplating the danger in the anger, and then cultivating metta and trying to, weaken that, and then again come back. So that can go on for, many, many weeks and months, depending on the person, dealing with these hindrances. And as Geshe mentioned before, samatha practice could take 6 months, it could take years, depending on the person. So, everyone has these defilements. So, but then once you actually, get some degree and able to concentrate, then it's good not to change the subject of the meditation, but you can begin the meditation with like a few minutes of metta, as the Buddha had mentioned in many sutras. You cleanse the mind from ill will, you cleanse the mind from sensual desire, you cleanse the mind from sloth and torpor at the beginning of the meditation, and then you focus on your object. But mindfulness is always required, because until you reach access concentration, the mind is always kind of going in and out. But once you attain the access concentration, you shouldn't be changing, going back and forth, but then to develop that into the full concentration, where maybe you might even get a nimitta, and then you can focus on that nimitta, and then use that to attain deeper states of jhana. So one has to determine what kind of a temperament one has, and try the various practices. If you have too much anger, then practice more metta first. You have more lust, then practice those meditations to help overcome that. But still, we can still try to practice, let's say, anapanasati in between. So, building up, having done several different meditations is going to help you strengthen certain aspects of the mind until you then can stay focused and not have so many distractions.
Venerable Rahul, would you please explain a little bit more what getting nimitta means in short?
Well, nimitta is something that's not mentioned in the sutras necessarily, but it's mentioned in the Visuddhimagga. Some people, of course, don't agree a lot with some of the Visuddhimagga. It can be distraction. But a nimitta basically is a counterpart sign. It's like a symbol of what you've been concentrating on. So in Anapanasati, one of the common nimittas, there's a little pinprick of light that you might see in the mind, like a little firefly. And it might move around a little bit. This is just a light that's kind of emanating from the unconscious mind as you start to get concentrated. And then some people have you then focus on that light until it becomes very steady. And then they have you extend that light until it fills up the mind. But normally in in the practices, we don't really advocate that, but that is something that's explained in the Visuddhimagga. And the same with practicing kasinas. There's a counterpart sign with kasinas, nimitta, where that image that you were observing with the open eyes then becomes very vivid and very bright and clear in the mind. And that becomes a counterpart image of what you were looking at with your open eyes, which is like you were staring at a Buddha image with the open eyes, and then you close the eyes, and when you can hold that image, it becomes very strong in the mind. That's like a nimitta. It's a mental image. But normally, when you're practicing samatha and vipassana and like satipatthana, we don't go into trying to focus on these kind of nimittas, because it can become a distraction also.
Venerable Sutadhara, I think now it's time.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it is 6 minutes after 6. So
I'm very sorry about all the trouble that I had with my text.
No. Bhante, we expect all, well, those are not the intentional, those happen. But thanks for both the venerables for giving this presentation, and then we will go then with this actually this sets a foundation for us to continue with our discussion next month too. And you have been very much also that you try to summarize so much of subject matter, which is not easy, but you handle it well. And thank you very much for your time, dedication, energy, and compassion for all of us. We really appreciate your contribution to enhance our understanding of meditation and at large the teachings of the Buddha. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable Sutadhara and everyone. And next time, month of November, we are going to meet on 7th. 7th is going to be the Monday. And we would continue with the meditation subject. But if there is any particular subject in the main topic of under meditation, please you can suggest it for us so that we can consider about that. And thank you very much. And Venerable Geshe or Venerable Kamalsiri would share the merits and conclude the program today.
Would like to pass it to the Venerable Geshe.
Okay.
Okay, so we do dedication here in English. Through the coming of the Buddha into this world, the illuminating sunlight of his teachings, and harmonies among the whole flowers who uphold the teachings. May there be the auspiciousness of the teaching remaining long into the future. In all temple and monastery, may study and recitations flourish and remain. May there always be harmonies among the Sangha, and may the purpose of Sangha be accomplished. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's